What is up, YouTube? It's Dead Guy Cardboard. I am back with a top 10 list. I love putting these lists together, and I think you guys will like this one. It is the top 10 greatest cards you're not supposed to have. Meaning these are cards that were pulled by the manufacturer or they were purposely short printed for various reasons, which I'll get into. I think the story behind a lot of these cards are pretty interesting. Before I get into the top 10 list, I just wanted to throw out a couple honorable mentions that I'm sure some people are going to want to bring up. One is the 1987 Donruss Opening Day Johnny Ray Barry Bonds rookie card error. This card has Johnny Ray pictured instead of Barry Bonds, and this is a very, very valuable card considering it's from the junk wax era, and it's because there's only a combined pop of 132 between SGC and PSA, so very scarce card. Another very popular card, rookie card from the junk wax era, is the 1990 Frank Thomas No Name. This card only has a pop of 210, and the printing plate, or the printing press, somehow didn't print Frank Thomas's name on the card, making this card extremely valuable compared to the one with his name. Alright, so let's get into the top 10. I think you'll find this list to be pretty interesting. Number 10, I'm sure you guys have all heard about this card. It's the 1989 Fleer Bill Ripken Fuckface Error card. So, Bill Ripken had a bat that literally says Fuckface on the bottom of it, and Fleer did not catch this when they printed it originally. And this card really took off and was a big deal when it came out, and still is a big deal. I think the card's pretty funny, and Flair definitely capitalized on this card because I think there's 4 variations of this card. They quote unquote tried to get rid of this fuckface scribble with some ridiculous things, like they put a black box on it. That's one variation. There's a black scribble, another variation to get rid of it. There's a white outs where there's a kind of a white box on it instead of a black box. There's also a scribbled white variation, which I think is the most valuable variation. So they had a lot of fun, I guess, doing different variations, trying to quote unquote cover this up. But I think it was just a way for them to make more money and get kids to try to collect all the variations of this card and buy more 1989 Fleer boxes. Alright, number 9 on this list. Some might be surprised that this is down here at number 9. But it is the 1954 Bowman Ted Williams number 66. The reason I put this down at number 9 is it's actually not that rare of a card. There's a combined pop report between PSA and SGC of 1,361 cards. It's because this card was released for an entire series. It was released during the first series of production, so a good chunk got out there. But why this is such a controversial card is because in 1954, Topps finally acquired rights to Ted Williams' image. Prior to 1954, Ted Williams was never on any of Topps products. He was on Bowman's products. And so they were quite pissed when they found out that Bowman was running a card with Ted Williams on it. So they forced them to stop production of that card, and Bowman replaced the Ted Williams card with Jimmy Pearsall. And this is, Topps understandably was upset because they probably paid a lot of money to acquire this exclusive license with Ted Williams, and they made a big deal of it too by putting Ted Williams as the number 1 card in their 54 top set and the last card in their set. And I like the design of the 51 or 54 Bowman Ted Williams. Not a lot of people are fans of this set, but I like the colors. All right, so number 8 is the T206 Sherry Magie name error. So Sherry Magie was a pretty good player at the time. Some people think he should be a Hall of Famer, but his name was misspelled very early on in the production run. His real name is spelled Magee. However, the famous name variation card is misspelled and it's spelled Magie. So as a result, this card is pretty valuable, and it's very short printed. There's only 193 in the combined pop report between SGC and PSA. All right, so number 7. This is a card I don't think a lot of people have heard of. It's the 1933 R300 George C. Miller Ivy Andrews card. So this set is actually very rare in general. This is a regional issued set, issued in the East Coast. I think it was manufactured in Boston. And this card was basically a way for the George C. Miller Company to make money off of kids, because there, on the reverse of each card from the set, there was a prize for completing the set of 32 cards. However, it was nearly impossible to complete the set because this Ivy Andrews card was very short printed. You kind of had a better chance of being struck by lightning than pulling this Ivy Andrews card out of one of their packs. And to this day, there's only a combined pop report of 18 cards. Most of those cards are canceled, either by clipping or hole punched. So those cards that were canceled or hole punched, most likely the kids were able to win the prize, and they got the prize and they were returned the prize with this clipping. And only 4 have been found intact, meaning that they were not redeemed for the prize. So the ones intact are very rare. All right, and you're going to see a common theme from the 30s where these caramel companies and gum companies are kind of screwing kids over with sort of shady practices with their prizes and their sets. All right, so number 6 is the T206 Eddie Plank. Another classic card from T206. Eddie Plank was a Hall of Fame pitcher. There's a combined pop of just 62. So very short printed card. The reason why there's not too many of them, well, we don't really know. There's 2 theories. One theory is that Eddie Plank did not want kids to buy tobacco products. The other theory is that there was a printing plate mistake, like there was a scratch on the printing plate, and they just decided to stop printing this card, not fix the plate. I don't really believe that, because Eddie Plank was a pretty big star at the time. I think they could have easily fixed that if that was a problem. And I guess there's a third theory too, that maybe he just wanted more money. So we don't really know, but as a result of whatever happened, this card is very short printed, and it's a gorgeous card. All right, so number 5 on the list is another T206. This is a card not a lot of people know about unless you're familiar with T206. It's certainly not as popular as the Eddie Plank card and the Sherry Maggie card. It's the T206 Joe Doyle New York National card. So why this is such a valuable card is Joe Doyle was never on the New York National team. He was on the New York Highlanders team. He was basically mistaken for a player named Larry Doyle, who was on the New York Nationals team. Whoever was printing this set, I guess, was he had mistaked Larry Doyle for Joe Doyle, and so that was quickly caught, and they removed the New York National part, or the national part of New York National, from the rest of the Joe Doyle cards, and that's what you see everywhere. It says anytime you look up a T206 Joe Doyle card, it always have just the New York designation and not the national designation. It has just a pop of 7 cards, so this is one of the rarest cards on this list. Easily the most rare card in the T206 set, and it makes it an extremely valuable card. And this variation wasn't really discovered, I think, until like the 80s or 90s. So it's a relatively new variation in the set in terms of discovery. All right, so number 4 on the list is the 1932 U.S. Caramel Charles Lindstrom, number 16. Another card that wasn't discovered until much later in the hobby. This card was discovered around the 80s or 90s, so nearly 60 years after the set came out. Turns out this is another one of those cards designed to trick kids into buying more packs to complete the set to win a prize. So I have a U.S. Caramel card. On the back it says, this is one of a series of 32 pictures of famous athletes numbered from 1 to 32. Return a complete set and receive a League Baseball valued at $1, or return 3 complete sets and receive a fielder's glove. However, this card, this Charles Lindstrom card, was impossible to find. So hard to find. There's only 2 to 3 currently in the hobby right now. It's literally so hard to find. I couldn't even find a clear photo of the card. So kids, not too many kids opening up U.S. Caramel cards could actually redeem all 32 cards for a baseball, and I think it was almost impossible to find 3 of these Lindstrom cards to get a fielder's glove. So, very interesting card in my opinion, and Charles Lindstrom was a Hall of Famer. So, alright, so number 3 on the list, the 1933 Goudey Napoleon Lajoie card, 106. This is a card I had on my most iconic list for the most iconic card in the 30s. Very similar story to the 1932 U.S. Caramel Charles Lindstrom and the 1933 R300 George C. Miller Ivy Andrews card, in that there was a card that was purposely short printed so kids could keep buying more packs to complete the set. However, this card was, I don't think, ever printed and ever inserted into Goudey packs. The reason people think that, and I think that, is because the design of this card is from 1934. And the only way that someone could acquire this card was by writing to Goudey and complaining that they could not find this card 106. And so Goudey would send out a couple cards in the mail, and they would finally get the missing Napoleon Lajoie card. And that's also the reason why a lot of these Napoleon Lajoie cards have little kind of paperclip marks on the top of the cards, because they were mailed with a paperclip on them. And this card's also very scarce. It's a pop of just 122 cards. Just a very iconic card in my opinion. Alright, so number 2 on the list. I think this will surprise a lot of people. Number 2 is the 2006 Topps Alex Gordon number 297. Why this card is so significant is this is the first regular Topps card pulled from circulation since 1958. Now, that card from 1958 was the 1958 Topps Ed Boucher. That was never even released. That never came out in packs. There's no prototype of that card. They just, when they were putting together a checklist, they decided to drop him from the list because he was caught exposing himself to young girls. So that card was actually never even inserted into packs. You can't even find that card. It doesn't exist. However, this Alex Gordon card does exist because it was accidentally inserted into packs after Topps realized they made a huge mistake. Because in 2005, a year before this card came out, MLB told Topps and all the baseball card manufacturers that they cannot release a card of a player with a rookie card designation until that player had actually played one game in the major leagues. Now, Alex Gordon had not played any games in the major leagues when this card came out. He was a hot prospect, and because of that, Topps really wanted to include him in the set. In 2006, only Topps and Upper Deck were making baseball cards, so Topps really wanted to beat out Upper Deck to this Alex Gordon card. And because of that, it was a pretty big mistake, because Topps admitted that they spent roughly $100,000 to remove this card. They were trying to hunt down the packs that had actually released this card, and they spent a lot of money and time making alterations to this card. One alteration is the punched out version, so they basically admitted to taking a bunch of uncut sheets and making punch holes through that card, and then a later alteration is a blank version. So this card was just very popular when it came out. Keith Olbermann, talked about back in the day, he spent thousands of dollars buying up a couple of these cards because it's a very significant card. This is really technically the first time Topps ever pulled a card from their set, and to this day it's still a very valuable card. I think a Near Mint 7 goes for several hundreds of dollars. Gem Mint 10s can go up to $1,000. And Alex Gordon really never panned out, but this card is still very popular, and it's still pretty rare. There's a combined pop of just 280 cards. All right, so number 1, this should come as no surprise. This is the ultimate card that no one's supposed to have. This is the T206 Honus Wagner card. The combined pop of just 58 cards. This is the most iconic card in the set, the most valuable card in the hobby, and it's a very similar story as Eddie Plank It was pulled early on in the print run, either because he didn't believe kids should be smoking tobacco, or it was just a contract issue. We don't know. Whatever happened made this card very scarce and very valuable, and kids in the 1909 were scrambling to find this card. Most of them never found it, and collectors today are still scrambling to find this card you're just not supposed to have. So that's it. Let me know the list. I have some other ideas for top 10 lists, and that's it. Yeah, thanks for watching.